Hi, welcome to Central Arizona College Library's presentation, APA Citations Demystified, on the American Psychological Association style of references. This style of references is used in the social sciences such as education, anthropology, sociology, and nursing. This is an introduction to this format with some examples and some recommendations about where to find more help. It's dedicated to a great horse with a great name, Citation, whom many people believe was the greatest horse ever to race in the U.S., and he was one of only 11 horses ever to win the Triple Crown, which he did in 1948. For a quick review, what is a citation? When you use someone else's ideas or words in your work, a citation tells your reader where the ideas or words came from. A citation describes its source. Why should you cite? There are many reasons to cite. The most important one is to give credit to your sources for their research and ideas. This is good and ethical scholarly practice. You should also cite to help you avoid plagiarizing, which is passing off another person's words and/or ideas as your own. This is a violation of college rules and can lead to failing grades and even expulsion. It's important to cite to show your instructor that you did your research and that you used authoritative sources. And it's important to cite to allow your readers to locate your sources for their own reading or research. In scholarly work, such as yours, citations occur in two formats. One, in text, an abbreviated citation that appears in the body of your work at the place that the quotation, paraphrase, image, etc. occurs. And two, as a complete reference listed in a reference list, which is a separate list of every source you use in your paper. The reference list is placed at the end of your work. When should you cite? You should cite the sources you use for specific facts, numbers, quotations, paraphrases, images, sounds, and ideas in both your reference list and as in-text citations. Every in-text citation must refer to a full citation listed in your reference list. Your reference list, however, may also include sources you used for background research only and that have no corresponding in-text citations. According to the APA manual, you should cite the following works. You should cite works by individuals whose research ideas or theories directly influenced your project. You should cite works that supplied important background information, works that supported or countered your thesis, works that gave critical definitions and data, and finally you should cite works that provided facts and figures that are not common knowledge. This is what in-text citations look like in the APA format. APA uses in their in-text the author date format, which means the critical elements are the author's last name and the date, usually just a year of publication. If you use a paraphrase or a quotation, you should also include the page number for that paraphrase or quotation. And this is what they look like. So here's an in-text citation. In parentheses, you include the last name of the author with a comma and the year of publication. That will help your reader know which of the complete citations that appear in your reference list at the end that you are referring to. And again, if you use a quotation or a paraphrase, you also include the page number. Notice that in APA you can separate these elements. You can incorporate the author's name into your sentence. You can include the date of publication immediately following the author's last name as long as it's in parentheses. And you can even separate the page number to come after the quotation or paraphrase. So remember that in-text citations are abbreviated citations that are placed within the body of your paper, and that every in-text citation has a corresponding complete citation in references. And also, you should remember that a page number is included only when you quote or paraphrase. And this is what a reference page looks like in APA format. Now, APA recommends that you use Times New Roman size 12 font for your entire paper. APA mandates that you list citations on a separate page called References, and that those citations are alphabetically listed by the author's last name. You should also double space your entries and use what's called a hanging indent. That is, you indent the second and subsequent lines of every citation 5 spaces. So you see, these are citations in your citation lists. They're double-spaced, alphabetical by the author's last name, and the second and subsequent lines are indented 5 spaces, called a hanging indent. And remember, the title is references, not reference list or citation list, just the single word references. Here's some templates and examples of 2 common categories of source citations, books and online articles. We'll start with books, and here's a template for a single author book. You can see this is for the reference list. We'll start with the single author, so you use the author's last name, a comma, and the initials of the author's first name or names. You never spell out the complete first name, just the initials. You then follow it with the publication year, which is in parentheses, which is followed by a period, the title of the book, which is in italics, which is also follows certain capitalization rules, which is the first word of the title is capitalized, the first word following the colon is capitalized, and all proper nouns. Otherwise, words that appear in the title are in lowercase. You then follow the title with a period, then location of the publishing company followed by a colon, and the name of the publishing company, and then a period. So author's last name, first name initials, in parentheses, the year of publication followed by a period, the title of the work, which is italicized, followed by a period, the location of the publishing company, a colon, and the publishing company, and a period. When you have 2 authors, you include both authors, separated by comma, and then there's an ampersand between. That ampersand is that symbol that symbolizes and. So first author's last name, comma, first name initials, then comma, ampersand, second author's last name, and first name initials. The author's names, if there's more than one author, appear in the order that they appear in the title page. You then follow that with the publication year in parentheses and a period, the title of the work in italics, and remember the first word is capitalized, the first word following a colon is capitalized, and all proper nouns are capitalized. Otherwise, the words in the title are in lowercase, followed by a period, then the location of the publishing company, a colon, and the publishing company, period. The in-text format follows that author date format, so you have the author's last name. Remember, no first name or first name initials, just the last name, the year of publication in parentheses, and if you quote or paraphrase, you include the page number. So use the author's full last name and first name initials only. In the title, you capitalize only the first word, proper nouns, and the first word after a colon. All other words are in lowercase. And note that in the in-text citation, you include page numbers only when quoting or paraphrasing. This is what it looks like in real life. Here's one author, the author's last name, comma, first name initial, period, the year of publication in parentheses followed by a period, the title of the book, which is capitalized, the first word is capitalized, the first word following the colon is capitalized, the entire title is italicized, followed by a period, Lanham, which is the place of publication, a colon, and the publishing company with a period. In the in-text format, you see the last name of the author only, the year of publication, and the page number if you're quoting or paraphrasing. And the page number format is P for page, lowercase, period, space, and the page number. Don't forget, you can also integrate the author into the body of your paper, and you can separate those elements within the sentence. So note the publication date, usually the year only, is in parentheses and is followed by a period, and the in-text citations use last names only, and page number should have a P, period, space before the number. With 2 authors, you use the first author's last name, comma, and his or her first initials, followed by a comma, then the ampersand, and then the last name followed by the first name initial, period. The year of publication is in parentheses followed by a period. The title of the book, the same. First word is capitalized, first word following a colon is capitalized, and the entire title is italicized. Place of publication, Lexington, Kentucky, followed by a colon, and the title of the publishing company followed by a period. So when you use a comma between the authors and an ampersand between the names when you have more than one author, and you use a hanging indent, that is the second or subsequent lines are indented 5 spaces. Ebooks are a little different. For ebooks, in addition to the author, publication date, and title, you must also include the phrase retrieved from and the web location of the book, or the permalink. The CAC Library ebooks, so all ebooks you access through the CAC Library resources, will include the permalink information in the document's tools, shown by this icon that says permalink. Or if you don't see this icon or this image, it will be in the citation generating tool. Here's an example of an ebook. So this particular ebook has actually 3 authors. So you want the first author's last name, again in the order in which they appear in the title page. The first author's last name, comma, first name initial, comma. Second author's last name, comma, first name initials, comma. And then before the last author that you list, you put the ampersand or that symbol that symbolizes and. So ampersand, third author's last name, comma, P period for first name. So remember to include that ampersand if there's more than 2 authors before the last author's name. Then you put the year of publication in parentheses followed by a period, the title of the book, which is italicized and has that capitalization rules, and a period. Then you have retrieved from, that phrase, retrieved from, and here's the permalink that you would find in the tools. Notice that there is no period following the permalink. APA stipulates no period be used in case it gets confused with some of the symbols within the URL. Notice too that the in-text format is exactly the same. You put the ampersand before the third name, but you just put the last names, no first initial, comma, and the year of publication, and the page number if you quote or paraphrase. So for 3 authors, use a comma only between the first and second author, and then a comma and ampersand between the second and third author. The permalink is included after the phrase retrieved from, and there's no period after the web address. You may notice too that in ebook citations there is another difference, and that is that you do not include the location of the publishing company or the publishing company name. Here's some online article examples. In the template, you'll see we provide 2 templates. One is when you have a volume and issue number, and one is without a volume and issue number. Most of the articles that you find through the CAC library databases will have volumes and issue numbers. Most magazines and journals do, certainly most academic journals. But you will sometimes come across journals and magazines without volume and issue numbers, and there's a way to deal with that. But let's start with the volume and issue number since that's the most common. You have the author's last name, comma, and the first name initial, then the year of publication in parentheses with a period. Now here's where it gets a little different. The title of the article is not italicized. So the title of the article is not italicized, but it does follow that same capitalization rule. That is, the first word of the title is capitalized, all proper nouns are capitalized, and the first word following a colon is capitalized. Then you put in the period. Now next comes the title of the journal. The title of the journal is capitalized and is italicized. So remember to italicize the title of the journal and capitalize all important words. After that, you see that there's a comma and then the volume number and issue number. And the issue number is in parentheses and there's no space between the two. So volume number, no space, issue number in parentheses. Then a comma and the page numbers. That is the page span, the first page that the article appears on, a hyphen, and then the last page that it appears on. So the span of pages, and then a period. Then that phrase retrieved from and the web address or permalink. When it comes to journal articles that do not have volume or issue numbers, you need to distinguish the issue from all of the other year's issues of that journal. So the way you do that is you start out with the author the same way, and then the publishing year the same way, and a comma. And then you include the date of publication or the date of the issue. That way your reader will be able to know which issue your article came from. So publication year, comma, and date of issue, all in parentheses followed by a period. The rest is the same. The title of the article, which is not italicized, followed by a period. The title of the journal, which is italicized and all important words are capitalized, followed by a period. The phrase retrieved from and the URL with no period at the end. Okay, so note that the title of the article is not italicized, but the title of the journal is italicized. And note that when there is no volume or issue number, you should try to include the date, not just the year of the publication. And I'll show you what that looks like in just a minute. So here's what it looks like in real life for an online database article that does have a volume and issue number. So here's the author's last name and first name initials. Here's the year of publication in parentheses with a period. Then you have the title of the article, which, as you'll notice, is not italicized, but does have the first word capitalized, the first word following the colon is capitalized, and all other proper nouns are capitalized, followed by a period. And then you have the journal title. All words are capitalized, and the whole journal title is italicized. So here's the journal title, followed by a comma. And now this is the volume, and this is the issue number. There's no space between them, but the issue number is in parentheses. So here's the volume number, the issue number in parentheses, followed by a comma. And then the first page that the article appears on with a hyphen, and then the last page that it appears on. So you've got the page span there, followed by a period. Then you have that familiar phrase, retrieved from, and the URL with no period afterwards. Notice that the in-text format is the same for a book. So in a journal title, capitalize all important words, and there's no space between the volume number and the issue number, but the issue number is in parentheses. And then you have page numbers for the first and the last page. This is what an online article looks like without a volume and issue number, when you can't find that volume or issue number. You have the author's last name and first name initials. Then you have the year of publication, followed by a comma. And then you have the day of issue. So this particular journal issue was published on August 6, 2014. So you'd include that date, and then close parentheses and a period. The rest is the same. You have the article title that is not in italics, but follows those capitalization rules, first word following the colon, and all proper nouns. And that's followed by a period. Then you have, in this case, an online journal title. The journal title is italicized and all words are capitalized, followed by a period. Note that this is an online journal, and so there are no page numbers, and there's also obviously no volume or issue number. So it's just followed by a period, that phrase retrieved from, and then you have the URL with no period following it. So you include the year, followed by a comma, followed by the day of issue if possible. Notice that there are no page numbers. This is an online-only journal and does not have page numbers, and that there's no period after the web address or link. Notice too that when you do an in-text format for a journal article that has no issue or volume number, that you need to put that entire information there, including the date of issue. This is just the tip of the iceberg, and there are plenty of places for you to get help or to look at examples or samples or templates. This is the official AP manual. This is the horse's mouth. You can go straight to that, and all of our campus libraries have a copy of this publication. But there are other places too to find APA style, lots of books that you can check out and take home and use as you need it. Those are all available at CAC libraries. There's also lots of online help to help you get through these APA citations. The Purdue University Online Writing Lab, otherwise known as OWL, is perhaps the most well-known, excellent website, and they also have a series of YouTube videos on the APA style. Cornell University Library Citation Management also has an excellent site on APA, and the American Psychological Association citation website also has some good information and an online tutorial. And finally, the Center for Writing Studies at the University of Illinois Urbana-Champaign has an excellent website that can help you. Also, we have a format for some quick reference that you can find. It's available through Blackboard. If you go through Blackboard to CAC Library Resources and then click on Handouts, you'll see it there. Or you can find printed copies at any of the CAC campus libraries. Finally, I recommend that you get someone to review your citations. If you can get your instructor to review your citations, that would be the best, since your instructor is the one giving you your grade. But you can also ask a librarian or a tutor to check. And while you're at it, you should have someone proofread your entire paper or your report for typos, incomplete sentences, run-on sentences, grammar problems, and misspellings. Remember, no one, even the greatest proofreader in the world, can proofread their own work. Your brain just doesn't work that way. And that is the end of this introduction to APA citation formats. We'll end with a picture of Citation winning the Triple Crown at Belmont Park in 1948. Thank you for listening.